make the strings.
Uh-oh. Look at the BMW. Look, and there's Big Dirty. Who's driving that thing? Anyhow, so I'm gonna start messing with this thing. I've mentioned it in a couple of my my videos recently, and basically I'm gonna start the whole process of the $300 drift missile. So yeah, first step is, this window doesn't really matter, but you gotta pop the hood on this guy, because to get into the trunk, I have to use the key. So hopefully this thing doesn't slam down on my camera. But basically I just gotta use the little jumper box over here. So we got a positive, we got a ground. Okay, there we go. Pop the trunk and connect the battery. So yeah, so we're I guess we'll see how this thing does after its couple month. Oh, it's locked. Wow. Nice. Surprised this shit still works. So yeah, let's see. This thing's been sitting out here for a couple months. See if she'll fire up. Ooh, how you doing? This window works? Oh, the window works still. Right. Well, it's cold in Colorado and the heater doesn't work, so that sucks. But yeah, so it's running. Power steering kind of feels a little heavy. It has a check engine light or 10 in it, and yeah, it definitely needs all that PCV system, because like when you rev it up, you can almost hear it like whistle. But I cleaned up the interior from the last time you guys seen it, or I think I did that in one of the videos where I just kind of cleaned it up. But I mean, it runs and drives. It pops out of reverse, and I don't have a mirror on this side, which kind of sucks. But yeah, so you put it in reverse, and then you back up, and then it pops out, and then you put it back in there, and then you like hold it in there, and then it like stays in there. Then you can, yeah, it stays in there decent, so that's all right, I guess. But I guess we'll mess with the BMW a little bit. Kind of show you guys some of the things that I'm doing. So I went ahead and I ordered a set of those coilovers. They're actually, I didn't go with those super cheap ones. I got some JOM coilovers, and I guess they're a 10K in the front and a 12K in the rear, because I guess since BMW has a little bit more grip, it'll make it easier to slide. But yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys a couple of the things that I would like to work on, because the event is basically Saturday. Is it Saturday? When is it?
My car's done, I don't care.
Dave's car is just chilling out back in the weeds. But so I need to weld the diff, so we're probably gonna be messing with that tonight. I need to fix the e-brake on it, and yeah, so I guess I'll just show you some of those issues and how it doesn't work.
Got like that blown head gasket.
Dave thinks this thing has a blown head gasket, but I don't. It doesn't. Okay, so the e-brake, first off, doesn't like do anything, so that's an issue. Going in reverse, if you put it in reverse, oh, it actually worked that time, probably because I was in reverse the last time. But yeah, check this out. So the struts are blown in here, and then the main thing is this, it doesn't, e-brake doesn't work. Yep. And the seat slides around everywhere. I don't think it has a blown head gasket, David. You see how this shit rips?
Sounds like shit.
Because it's open header. So we're Oh, hey, I need to pull that thing back in.
Better hurry because it's starting to get cold out.
What does that mean? Well, hey, why didn't you finish eating that thing? All right, yeah, check this out, guys. Running Supra or no? So e-brake and this thing works. Maybe we should go do some donuts in it. So BMW's in here and on the lift. I know a lot of you guys are gonna bitch and complain at me, and what are they gonna say?
Don't buy $300 coils.
Damn it, David. No, everybody's gonna say, why aren't you working on the Supra? Where's the Supra video? So, you know, the sanding video, I'm gonna basically do that in the background probably tonight, tomorrow. Probably not tonight. Probably tomorrow and the next day, and then I'll probably have like a video out later this week of actually, you know, respraying the thing. But until then, I'm not gonna mess with that. And, you know, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a little while, and kind of the opportunity came up. And, you know, meanwhile, it'll give you guys something to watch while I'm kind of doing that in the background, so that I don't make a bunch of sanding videos just being frustrated and complaining. But yeah, so one of the things we need to do is delete the clutch delay valve in here. I almost thought about ordering like a hydro e-brake, like one of the super cheap ones. But part of the things I want to do tonight, David.
You didn't get one of those China companies? They had some.
Well, I was going to order one off eBay. You know, I was just going to eBay this thing up. No, but I want to see if I could get the rear, get the e-brake to work, because it's like a drum inside the thing, so it's probably not going to work that great.
They suck.
Yeah, look at this. I have to like put my arm up like above my head to film David.
Okay.
This same level. Look at that.
Okay.
That's what happens right there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so weld diff and do some other things, but we gotta do some other things real quick. So yeah, the diff came out of this thing super easy. It kind of seemed like it was kind of stuck up there a little bit, and then I just kind of had to wiggle a little bit more and make sure the axles kind of weren't in the way. But yeah, pretty simple. Basically just unbolt both axles. There's these 2 bolt holes in the front, and then that guy in the rear, and then basically the drive shaft bolts. That was pretty simple. So I got it over here on the bench, and I made this little, or I made 2 of these little plates right here. And basically that'll just kind of go in there. This is not a necessary thing, but I was thinking about attempting to TIG weld this thing, just so that there's no actual like cleanup. Because when you do the MIG welder, there's a bunch of splatter and stuff that splatters all over everything, you know. And then you got to kind of be careful or worry about them getting into your gears and, you know, kind of grinding everything. Whereas a TIG welder, basically it's just the arc. And you know, keep everything nice and super clean, so there'd be like no cleanup at all essentially. So doing that, I figure this plate, it'll kind of give me something a little bit you know, kind of weld to a little bit better, and you know, it'd be more points, since I wouldn't be putting as much like hot molten metal in there as with the MIG. The TIG, it'll kind of, you know, support on all 4 corners of the thing. But let's say you were just going to MIG weld this. You can see right here. So this is your regular open diff, and then basically, so what you do is just right in there, you just kind of weld that kind of all them gears together, you know, on all 4 points. Turn the diff over. There's basically an exact copy of this side, you know, just basically turn the input shaft or whatever, and then you basically just do it the same way on that other side. But yeah, I'm gonna attempt to TIG weld this. I think it might be a little bit of a pain just to be able to try to get in all the spots, whereas it's kind of the MIG, you just kind of stick it in and then just go and just go crazy with it. But yeah, like I said, I don't really necessarily like doing that just because there's so much more, you know, splatter in there. So I'm going to give this an attempt. So we got her all welded up. I don't know if you guys could see the smoke kind of dispersing and thing. I had this fan basically blowing right here, and since it was, you know, we're welding right behind here, it didn't really affect the argon too much, you know, but it was basically blowing all this smoke out of my face, all this burnt up oil or whatever. But yeah, check that out. So let's see if it'll kind of focus in there a little better. I mean, it's not the prettiest thing in the world. You take out a little bit of undercut, like on the inside right there. But basically, what we're really attempting to do is just really try to melt, you know, these gears together so that they just, you know, they're together. So the more metal you put in there, the best. I think I used about 3 or 4 sticks on each, you know, 3 or 4 of these rods on each side. I think it was about 3 on each side. But and then that plate in the center. So to kind of get, because the angle right here, I basically just kind of had to melt off these little corners, and kind of I just let that kind of like, you know, flow down onto that piece of metal like lava, and then kind of tied it in. Yeah, I mean that's definitely gonna hold. It's you know, kind of overkill, I guess, maybe in my opinion, just because I spent so much time, you know, doing the TIG welding on it. You know, but I guess almost it's a trade-off, because the amount of time that I spent TIG welding it, I would have spent, you know, cleaning up and using brake cleaner and oil and all that other stuff, trying to like flush out all the spatter out of here. Whereas this thing, I mean, there's absolutely no spatter at all, which is really nice. So I don't have to worry about any, you know, any chunks of, you know, molten metal getting in between the gears and messing it up. Which, I mean, this is a missile car, you know, thrash car, whatever you want to call it. But I've always kind of wanted to TIG weld a diff anyhow, and this was a good chance. This little, you know, Everlast 200 DV TIG welder, this thing's been doing great. I purchased this thing off of Amazon last year around this same time for actually cheaper than what they were offering at the SEMA show for like a show special. But that's when we did the whole like Haggard Garage challenge. You know, welded a bunch of intercooler pipe and, you know, stainless exhaust and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll be using it on the, you know, the Super and all that stuff, and then probably that Super later. But I love having this little TIG welder in the shop. I think it was like $1,200 or so, which compared to like a Miller, like a Dynasty or something, those things are like almost $3-4 grand or so. I mean, for somebody who's kind of in the shop just as a hobbyist, not like a professional. If I was a professional, I'd definitely get a Miller. You know, like this Miller MIG that we have. That thing is amazing. But yeah, that thing, the welder kills it. So I'm gonna let this thing cool down a little bit. Probably turn the fan on it again now that the smoke is kind of going away. Let it cool off just a little bit, and then put on a new gasket. Not a new one, but I'll use like some just RTV for a gasket. Let it sit overnight, and then I'll come back tomorrow. And use some of this black RTV silicone, and that stuff works pretty good with oil. That's pretty much what I had laying around. I was going to use some of the gray stuff, but basically kind of what you want to do is get a decent bead going around it. It's really easy in one of these things because it's like a little caulking gun. You just push the trigger and it kind of pushes it out. But yeah, normally I like to let it sit overnight, especially this stuff, because it's not like the super good stuff. Like Permatex makes this stuff, it's called Right Stuff. It's like $15 or something for a can of it, like this, a little bit bigger. But that stuff gets hard in like 5 or 10 minutes, and you could like use it within an hour. Whereas like normal silicone says like 24 hours before you put it in use. So if you've ever had like a diff you put back together and it leaks, it's probably because you maybe, you know, or I feel like a lot of people mistake that, and then they just put oil in it right away, and then you know, it gets contact with oil and then it kind of seeps through. But I'm gonna let this sit overnight. I popped the drain plug right there so that it could kind of air out in the center. But plan is come back tomorrow, adjust the e-brake, see if we could get that to work, throw the diff back in, and yeah, so you can see this rear lower control arm or whatever, that thing's kind of bent, so that's kind of changing the toe in the rear. So I went ahead and I ordered a set of adjustable ones of these, just some you know, some eBay specials, and they were like 55 bucks for an adjustable one. So that's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, see you guys tomorrow, or I'll be back tomorrow. Alright guys, back here. It is tomorrow, so I got some 80-90 weight little pump thing. I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna do this thing in the car or not. And then like some little grommet things, and then some gray RTV, because that's actually what I wanted to use, but I didn't have it. I didn't have any in stock, okay. And then an oil filter for this guy, because I want to change the oil, because I definitely don't know you know, what kind of life this thing had before me. And it needs power steering fluid too. I should have probably got some of that, but maybe I'll get that a little bit later. But for now, I think pretty much this is the same process as you do on a 240. You just kind of loosen this one and then fill it up until it just drains out, and then that's the proper level, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna do some Googling real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and actually torque these or tighten them back up to where they you know, where I think they need to be tightened, and then smash this thing back up in there. Yeah. So I got the diff smashed back up in there, and everything's all hooked up. I also decided to change out that guy right there, that Guidibo or whatever you want to call it. This is the old one that was in there. You can see it was starting to show some cords on the outside, so it was time. So yeah, that's I guess that's pretty much it. Like if you guys don't remember, this was pretty much the issue with the car when I got it, is this thing was just banging around and doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And yeah, so I guess now I need to decide what I'm doing with the exhaust, if I'm gonna put it back on or if I'm gonna do them like headers. I guess a couple of you guys were mentioning in the comments that they're like a super big pain in the butt and they don't fit, and you pretty much have to like cut off the O2 sensors and re-weld them. The other thing I want to do is get rid of the clutch delay valve, which I don't know if this one has it on there or not. The ones that I was looking at on the internet, they look different than that. Maybe it's in there. I don't know. I don't know where it's at. It doesn't. There's no obvious clutch delay valve. So I guess that's pretty much gonna be it. I'm gonna check the oil on it, and probably gonna change the oil in a little bit, and we'll go from there, I guess. But this thing's like self-lubricating. I guess that's what these BMWs do. But power steering makes a bunch of noise too, so I need to kind of fix that. But for now, I'm gonna probably lower it down, see if I could adjust this e-brake a little bit, and then go outside, probably do some donuts, and see what I think of this thing. The other thing I got for it, where's that? To solve the whole, like, because it has the crankcase ventilation system, it has, you know, major issues with it, you know, and vacuum leaks and stuff. So I bought this whole kit off of eBay. This was like one of them $50 kits, and it replaces everything. But I might actually end up just doing the whole crankcase vent delete. Yeah, this thing throws like 1,000 different codes, and then when you spray like the underneath the intake manifold with like brake cleaner or starting fluid, you could hear it. You could just hear, you know, it idles up and stuff. So I guess I need to decide if I'm gonna do that or if I'm just gonna delete the whole system, because I guess this one that goes into the dipstick is a common one that breaks all the time. But yeah, I don't know. Alright guys, well here she goes. First, guess I should get this ratchet out of the way. First attempt with the welded diff. And so what I ended up doing for right here to adjust the e-brake. As you can see down there, there's these two deals, and you can see they're still kind of loose. But I basically just went ahead and just tugged on them a little bit and tightened them. Probably, I don't know, that's probably about 1/2 inch or so, 3/8 of an inch. Is how far I actually tightened them. And so so it feels like the e-brake is actually kind of grabbing now, because before when I set it down, there was actually like a 1/4 inch of play in there. But yeah, so we'll see what this guy thinks of its newly welded diff. Ooh, 205,000 miles, that's not bad. So that works. Okay, so e-brake is going to potentially work. I just need to fix this. Clutch pedal too. Yeah, this e-brake definitely needs an extender. We're almost there. I'm gonna enjoy this thing. I'm really gonna enjoy this thing. I need to probably put some power steering fluid in it and fix the vacuum leaks, but and probably put some gas in it too. That's hilarious. Yeah, definitely some sort of a handbrake extender. I see why Chelsea Denofa, he did his thrash car. He had an E46 sedan. I think it was the same exact thing, 325 or 323i. And he had a handbrake extender. Basically, he had something that kind of bolted on right there, and it came right here. And I could totally see why you'd need that, because this thing is like, nope, definitely doesn't want to rip. Need to get this thing out of the way, because it's kind of ruining my pro grip. But I mean, the tires that are on here, what are they? 16s, 205, 55, 16s. And honestly, I think 16s are like the cheapest things you could get at Walmart. I think you could get a pair of, like, each tire's like $50 or something, which, you know, for a thrash car, you know, I guess that won't be too bad, because you could probably go through like a full day. You could probably get 2 sets of tires on this thing, and depending if it was wet or not. But I'm excited to get the coilovers on this thing. This is something that Jamie's working on, right, Jamie? What? Your little art project. She went to the thrift store
and bought a window with lead paint in it.
Yeah, I told her to quit eating the paint chips off it, and she didn't listen to me. What's wrong with that? Did you see me slanging it?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think of that? That thing's kind of tight. I'm kind of pumped about it.
From the shop, Trevor's gonna go slang the BMW.
Damn, I need to be more excited about that. Jeez.
Okay, reporting live from the shop, Trevor's gonna go slang the BMW.
were you telling me to quit drifting?
Because you were shooting me with tire. And it was barking.
Yeah, because
You're gonna
this.
blow it up.
Yeah, the tire was gonna blow up. But the car, it slangs it though, huh? You think it does?
Yeah.
Jamie's new drift car? Wow.
Oh, wow.
Jamie's new drift car. Look what I built you, honey.
You did not. You built that for fun.
For fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this could be like we could all have fun in it, okay? Me and you and Carson. This will be her first drift car. Okay?
Okay.
Give me an excuse to build it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you cold?
It's cold outside.
Oh. So these are those wheels I was telling you guys about. My brother bought them from the pawn shop, but I think they're like 18 by 9 or 18 by 9.5, and then like 18 by 10 or 10.5, something like that. They have 265, 35, 18 Continentals on the rear, and I think like 235 or 245. I think 235 is in the front. But anyhow, he was gonna put. He just recently bought a 535 XI wagon, and he bought them for that. But then, as you could tell, they got plastic dip all over them, and he attempted cleaning them. He got the front one pretty clean, but you know, kind of gave up after you know messing with those ones, and you could see this one was being like a major pain. So he kind of ended up leaving them here and was like, okay, well, I'll just sell them to you. And I was like, maybe, and I might put them on this thing. And then they just stayed here. So they might be mine, they might not. I guess I got to decide if I'm going to use them or not. But I think I might end up just leaving these ones on the front and then go ahead and use these ones in the back for burners. And then maybe stop and get like a brand new pair of tires. I'm gonna mount some of these crappy ones I had just laying around the shop on there real quick, just since I ballooned this one, and so I could actually move it around and stuff. But yeah, that might be the plan so far. And then I need to kind of figure out a way to. I didn't tell you guys. Oh, so I was going to order a seat off of eBay, but my buddy Derek with the white S14, he had this Bride Lomax replica. So he sold me that for $100, and which I thought was a pretty decent deal compared to, you know, all the other basically replica seats I found on the internet were like 170 or so. But it's a side mount, which might be kind of a pain in the butt. But I think what I might end up doing is just taking the stock seat off of its rail and then sitting it there and then making essentially my own bracket to mount it to the stock seat, and then have it like power up and down and all that stuff, so I can move it up and down and forward and backwards and kind of tilt it exactly how I want. And then this could kind of be universal too. I could kind of let Jamie drive this thing. She can move it forward, back, up. You know, David, if he needs to move it. The only other thing I need to do is fix this window, and then figure out a way to actually strap a harness in here, because the stock seat belt wasn't clicking in that, which I could probably just get another one from the junkyard. But definitely need to figure out either a harness or be able to get the seat belt to work. So I guess those are the things on the agenda, as well as trying to figure out you know, the whole vacuum mess on this thing, whether or not I'm going to do a crankcase vent delete, or and actually do like a catch can, or if I'm just gonna hook all this stuff up like factory and then just not deal with it. So, but the bad thing is, this will probably take me a while to install. But I don't know, I'm gonna continue messing with it a little bit, I guess. So I guess I'll show you my little parts list. So here is a adjustable camber rear tow arm for it, and I actually didn't know I needed that, but I got underneath it and I seen that mine was messed up. So that'll be pretty nice to actually have, you know, one of those that's not messed up, and because I guess these things are kind of delicate on there anyhow. But I figured for $55 plus free shipping, that wasn't too bad. I got some R-tab limiters, which is the rear trailing arm bushing limiter, and that basically keeps the bushing kind of square in there as it's traveling up and down, and won't let it, like, you know, camber in or camber out or tow in, or, you know, do a bunch of crazy stuff essentially. And then here's those coilovers that I was telling you guys about. These are some JOM 3 or, you know, E46 coilovers, and basically what I was talking to Levi, the guy who runs the Drift Colorado thing, and, you know, he's been drifting his E46 for I think like 5 or 6 years into Colorado. He was saying that these are some of the coilovers that actually have the correct spring rates on them. So you can see right here, the front is 10K and the rear is 12K. And so I guess that'll kind of help this thing drift a little bit better, you know, having a little bit stiffer suspension in the rear. And yeah, so he said they're actually, you know, pretty decent. I was reading some reviews on it. Seems like a lot of people, you know, are pretty happy with them, you know, for them being basic. I was thinking about doing a set of BCs, but I just don't really want to spend that amount of money on it right now just for kind of a thrash car. But, you know, I'd love to have a set of BC BRs or DRs on it. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just kind of a little thrash thing, and I'm trying to do it as cheap as possible. Oh, and I ordered a fake Milwaukee 12-volt battery because all mine, like, the caps of them broke off. So, yeah. So I guess one of the issues that I'm going to fix in the next video, or I'm going to try to get fixed in this next video, and if you guys could give me a little bit of advice, you guys have worked on these... Seems like the starter doesn't catch all the time. See how it's kind of idling right now? Probably can't really tell. And then obviously the revs hang up a little bit. But if you do, if you take brake cleaner, you spray down like by the throttle body, you definitely hear it rev up a little bit. So yeah, it revs up basically when you spray down by the throttle body, which is pretty much where this thing is, that crankcase random thing. So yeah, I don't know, I might start tearing this stuff off tonight and looking into that. But that's where I'm gonna leave it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully you guys enjoy this little E46, you know, drift thrasher project. It's been kind of sitting outside, and if I didn't do it now, I wasn't going to do it over the winter because there wouldn't really be any events or any reason to do it. So this is kind of like at the end of the year, like, you know, real quick thing. Go do some thrashing. You know, watching Adam's videos, him over there at Ebisu. I really wanted to go this year, but, you know, everything just wouldn't have worked out that well with the baby and everything. But, you know, so we're going to try to maybe create our own little, like, thrash, like Ebisu style, like over here. And, you know, in Colorado, so a couple, there's gonna be a couple BMWs out there. Dave's gonna have his G35, and you know, just not run into each other, but just not be so, you know, scared to really thrash with each other. You know, we're all gonna be on kind of skinnier tires, not going super fast. You know, whereas this thing, you know, it's fast and, you know, expensive, and, you know, the front fenders for this thing were like $400, whereas I bought this whole car for $300. By the time it's all said and done, you know, I'll probably have a little over 1,000 into it, maybe somewhere in there. And at that point, it should be a decently reliable, you know, basic drift car, which will be pretty fun. And you know, if I don't like it, I could sell it, or you know, I could let some of my other buddies drive it, see what they think, try to get them into the, you know, ruining themselves in the whole drift life. But Jamie wrote thrash car on the window. But yeah, like I said, I am going to be working on the Supra basically tomorrow and the next day, and sanding and doing some other stuff with it, and hopefully getting it ready to paint this week, kind of while I'm waiting for the parts to come in for this during the end of the week. So yeah, I mean, this was, you know, like I said, something I wanted to do, provide you guys some kind of cool content and give me something to look forward to, other than, you know, getting upset at this thing. So, you know, look forward to a video of that thing probably later this week. But for now, we're going to mess with this, and I'm going to start doing this stuff. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you later.